Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Rhinebeck meeting. It is June 22nd. It's our regular town board meeting. Those of you who have joined us for the public hearing, I would ask you to mute yourselves, and we'll call on you when it's time to also mute you. Thank you. Would everybody please like to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the United
States of America and to the
republic
republic for which it stands, one nation,
under
God, indivisible,
with
free and justice for all.
Thank you. I would like a motion to approve our prior minutes of June 8th, 2020.
Motion.
Thank you, Alan. May I have a second?
Second.
Is that Chauncey?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion? Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. It is 6:03 and we are opening the public hearing for our proposed local law amending Chapter 125 zoning in the matter of revising the district schedule of use resolutions to allow motor vehicle repair and service establishment in the ORP zoning district pursuant to the issuance of a special use permit and site plan review and approval to provide criteria for such use. Before we open the public, I take public comment, I just want to say that as a matter of record, on June 19th, we received a letter from Dan Schuster and Associates, who is the planner to the Rugies family who have petitioned us for this zoning amendment. So this will be made a matter of public record and will be available. Warren, do you want to give us a preamble before I start taking comment?
Yeah, I mean, this is a local law which was requested by Rugies and Stamp that we consider pursuant to the provisions of our town code an amendment to our zoning law, which permitted service automobile repair and service facilities in the office research park district of the town. Currently, that's not a permitted use within that town. The town board received this request a while ago. It was vetted and discussed at various town board meetings. And as a result of that request, the town board determined to move forward with a proposed amendment to the zoning law, which would amend the zoning code to permit automobile service centers, repair and service facilities as a use permitted in the town's office research park district pursuant to a special use permit and site plan. So that's what you have before us, and the matter has been referred to Dutchess County Planning for their comments. They responded it's a matter of local concern, and we also referred the amendment to the town planning board for their comments. We have not heard back from them. It's my understanding that they will comment on this, take up their comments at the July 6th or 7th meeting.
Yes.
And then we'll receive whatever input they have thereafter. And at this point, we did receive this request from Mr. Schuster, who's the planner for the petitioner. And they have requested that we consider certain changes to the proposed law. We will, in fact, be reviewing that request from Mr. Schuster and be taking it up internally and at probably a workshop meeting with our planner. And we will also be referring their proposed changes on to the planning board for their comments. And so it's a strong likelihood that there may be some changes to this local law. But tonight, we can open the public hearing, accept comments, and then we will adjourn the public hearing to the next July date, which was, Elizabeth, do you have that at your fingertips?
Well, I'll just, let me close the public hearings and then we'll discuss this when we're going to adjourn.
I'm sorry.
We'll close the public hearing and decide when we're going to adjourn to. We can either adjourn
No, we don't close. No, we'll keep the public hearing open. We'll just adjourn.
What I meant was let me take the comments, and when the comments are done,
But
I
don't
won't
close the public hearing because we're going to keep it
I'll
open.
adjourn it. Just to reiterate for everybody, the letter that we received from Dan Schuster, who is the planner for the petitioner, the Ruggies have asked us to do this law, has requested some additional changes to the law. So in order for us to do that, we're going to hear your comments tonight based on the law that we've published to the public. We will consider their requests for additional changes, work with our attorney and our planner on it to turn around the changes as we see fit, and then reopen the public hearing for more comments based on a new or revised law. That's it. Please raise your hand if you would like to speak. And before I do, Fred, is anybody else in the waiting room?
No, no one's in the waiting room. Everybody's in the meeting.
Okay, you'll check that for me and make sure that people get on.
I'll be watching it the whole time.
Okay. Does anybody here who's logged in, would anybody like to speak to this local law? Is there any public comment? Any questions?
Am I
Amanda?
on? Yeah, okay.
Fred, I'll do the calling.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep.
Me?
Amanda, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Can you please give us your, Amanda Tibier, on your address, please?
84 White Schoolhouse Road.
Thank you.
My biggest concern is why couldn't this be postponed until we could possibly have more of an audience to do this? Because there's lots of people that aren't really capable of getting onto Zoom or understanding how to use Zoom. And I feel like their opinions are the ones that are most concerned about this.
Well, this is a acceptable public forum right now. Anybody can join, and we have been petitioned by the Ruggies to do this. We can certainly hold it over, but I think they'd like for us to, Warren, do you want to answer this? Or
I'm sorry, I really couldn't hear Amanda. If you could repeat that and speak a little louder.
I just feel like as a public hearing, you don't really get to get as many people's voices through Zoom because not everybody has access to Zoom, especially the people that are concerned about it, the locals that are concerned, they have no idea how to run it. So I'm just curious as why it couldn't be postponed because I thought that was an option.
well, we're going to hold it over until July or August. I'm not sure if we'll be back in public by then, and people can certainly email us or write us.
Okay.
There are a million different ways for people to get input to us.
By the way, you can also get on this meeting by dialing in. You just need a telephone.
Okay. Sounds good.
Are there specific comments about the local law or questions? This is a public hearing, so we're taking comments on the proposed local law. Anybody else? Jana, William, Brooke, 845-546-464-1860. Jennifer. Okay, hearing no other public comments. Should we move to adjourn this to the 13th, Warren? Does that give us enough time?
It may not, but it's easier to adjourn it to the next available date. And it's quite possible that we may not be ready to consider any amended law at that time. So we may have to further adjourn it. So
we will post on our website the letter from Dan Schuster, who again is the planner for the petitioner requesting additional changes to this law. We will have to probably schedule a workshop to do that, guys. A public workshop where the public can watch, but we will not be taking comment as we consider the new requests from the Ruggies on this stamp Prop tool parcel. Do we want to schedule a workshop now?
Well, the workshop we can schedule internally when we're ready to do it. I think we should wait until we receive something back from the planning board, which I hope will be after their July 6th or 7th meeting, whatever date that is on.
Yeah, honestly, I think adjourning this to the 13th is too soon because
You know,
we're not going to have, we should probably have a workshop before then. We should probably discuss the changes, rework the law, decide if that's what we want to do, publish a new law and refer it. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's ambitious to adjourn it to that date, but if you want to adjourn it to the August date, that's
August 10th. I just think the 13th is 2 weeks. We can't even get
you know,
feedback on a new law from the, I mean, I think we should schedule a workshop for us to workshop the new requests from the petitioner.
so why don't we adjourn the public hearing to August 10th? We may not be ready on August 10th either. I just want to warn people. I mean, it may take some time to review the comments of the planning board and to review the comments of Mr. Schuster. But certainly August 10th would be a safer date than the July.
Let's adjourn it until August 10th. Tomorrow I'll send out an email to the town board and Warren and our planner, and we will schedule a workshop which will be viewable to everybody by logging on to our town website and watching it in simulcast on YouTube. We will not be taking comments during a workshop. But again, for all the public out there, you can reach us with comments. You should read the law before you comment on it. And we will publish this newest memo from Dan Schuster. And any comments can be written and emailed to us, care of town clerk at rhinebeckny.gov. It could be mailed to Town Hall, snail mail, 80 East Market Street, and we will get them all.
Someone's jumping in here.
Okay, well, Fred will let them in. We've held over the public comment period.
Yep.
Okay, moving along then. I'm going to skip through this because we have Warren only for some time. I'm going to tab 2, Resolution 2020-133. I'd like a motion for an agreement with Rugies Way Corner Holdings, LLC, and Rugies Automotive, Inc. with regard to the placement of certain restrictions on the operation of the conduct of said businesses in the village and town of Rhinebeck. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Ed. May I have a second?
Second.
Who was that?
Chauncey.
Thanks, Chauncey. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Warren, I don't think we need you for anything else. Do we,
Okay.
guys?
Then if that's the case, I'm moving on to another meeting.
Oh, lucky you. I hope it's as fun as this one. We don't need, I'm looking at the agenda. We don't need Warren for anything else, do we? I don't think so.
I think we're all set, right?
Okay, thanks, Warren.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Keep well, everybody. See you.
You too. Thanks for all your help with this. Warren, will you let the petitioner's attorney know that we've adjourned this and we
Yes.
will be scheduling a workshop? And their plan. Do you want me to call the planner or will you?
You mean our planner or Dan?
No, their planner.
I'll communicate with them and let them know what happened.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye. I need a motion for tab 1, Resolution 2020-125, our IMA with the Rhinebeck Central School District for joint facility use. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thanks, Alan. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Who is that, Josh?
Josh.
Okay, is there any discussion? I'll just let you guys know that their school budget passed, so this is not an of the essence issue. but we need to look at what facilities the school is using and what from us and what facilities we're using for them. I think, you know, they have the swimming pool and our fields, and we
Tennis
want to,
court,
and the tennis courts. And we need to see if this is an equitable agreement moving forward. I know the town of Red Hook gets $15,000 a year from the school. Also, I think 40% of the school population, might be 35, are not Rhinebeck residents. So do we want to, I think we should sign this. It's for a year, and then we could see, look, you know, really look at what the costs are, and if there's a lack of parity. I don't know what you guys think.
I think it's reasonable.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay. All right. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Okay. Thank you. I need a motion for resolution 2020-144, appointment to the Conservation Advisory Board.
I'll make that motion.
Ed, may I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Chauncey. This is for the public. This is Amy Wu, who's a former science writer and a new-ish resident of Rhinebeck and a former reporter. Thanks for stepping up and volunteering, Amy. Any further discussion or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I need a motion for resolution 2020-145 for the hire of seasonal help for the maintenance department. May I
Make a
have-
motion.
Thanks, Ed. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ed. Is there any discussion or any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I need a motion for resolution 2020-146 for the consulting contract with Alta Planning and Design for the trail study linking the Rhine Cliff Amtrak station with the village.
Motion.
Alan, thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chauncey. For the public, in our 2020 budget, we had put aside some money to start developing a trail plan. We are working with some residents at the,
The gardens.
thank you, the gardens, thank you.
Yeah, the gardens.
Gardens, to develop a trail that would connect Rhinebeck Amtrak with the trail in front of the library to the village, so we could have safe walking, biking. And this is the contract to begin doing that. Is there
No,
any-
stop it. I'm sorry, my son. I apologize. I was on mute. I'm muting in the background. My kids are fighting. I apologize.
No. I thought I had to stop. I thought I got it wrong.
I thought I had it muted. I apologize.
You're a human.
I've been waiting for this to I've been waiting for this to happen for 4 months, and it did. So here we are.
All right.
It's not bad you held it off that long.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I'll continue. I won't stop. But is there any further discussion or any other comments on this? And Josh, thanks for taking this project on and working with the residents at the gardens. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Okay, I need a motion for resolution 2020-147 for recreation program, Zoom program for community fitness boot camp. So this would be great. People can do this remotely at home since we're not exercising, I guess, together.
Yeah.
Thanks. May I have a second?
Second.
That's Josh. Okay. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I need a motion for resolution 2020-148 for the purchase of Semify cemetery administration software.
I'll
Motion.
make that motion.
All right, I'll say,
I took Alan as a first. Ed, you can second.
I'll second. Yeah.
Okay. Just me. I'm just checking to make sure that the financial information is correct in here. I had to move some money around.
I think we covered it.
Yep, we did. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved. I would like a motion for resolution 2020-149 for the purchase of security cameras and installation of the said cameras at the transfer station.
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Ed. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Alan. This is, and this will be remote, Ed?
Yeah, we're going to have there's going to be a DVR where we can view everything on. It's going to be installed inside.
A what?
And
A what that we can?
Digital
DVR.
video.
they're going to have a video inside so we can look at any tapes we need to look at.
We're looking at tapes. This isn't digital. It doesn't live on a cloud.
It is
All right.
DVR's digital video
We
record.
can't do a cloud without a computer. There's no computer up there.
Okay, is this, we're not putting this on videotape, are we?
It's going to be on a DVR. I don't think that's
No,
not video.
DVR is digital. It'll be on a
Yeah,
hard
it'll
drive.
It'll be fine.
What is the end use? What is the end product, Alan? Is it on a disc or a thumb drive or what?
It'll be on a hard drive of the DVR. And you'll be
Okay,
able-
and how do we access it?
you can load it onto a computer, a thumb drive, or you can watch it.
Just watch it.
Okay, how will it be available to watch and who's going to watch it?
Well, it seems, go ahead.
It's going to be right in the transfer station. Right.
What good does that do us if we can't watch it?
Oh, we can access it though. I mean, I can access it. You can look at it. If I have to check through anything, I can do it.
Why don't we have it? I thought we were getting Wi-Fi down there.
We don't have any computer, so there's nothing there. I didn't want to go through the whole process of getting computer and putting everything else out there.
I said Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. This just seems archaic to me to have to go to the transfer station to watch a digital recording.
I tell you what, why don't we table this and Ed and I will get together and figure out.
Yeah.
Am I overthinking it, guys? I mean, don't we just want to be able to log on and see? I mean, I'm assuming this is for vandalism, to check in, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's for people. Yeah, it's everything. People driving off without paying, everything.
I just think we should have some kind of remote. I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I
No,
overthinking it?
well, let's see what it costs. I'll be happy to sit down with Ed and go
The
through the
cost is-
proposal.
The cost is $2,200 exactly.
I understand,
Yeah.
but what do you get for that? Let me
I
look.
think we're just getting 3 or 4 cameras and the DVR.
Why don't you send me the make and model number of the DVR and I'll look at
Okay,
it.
I've got the whole thing
I
right here.
guess
Sure.
what I'm saying is I'm not on board with the DVR. I'd like something more 21st century. I don't
Okay,
know.
that's fine.
So we'll table it?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Apropos of this, and I know I'm sort of skipping around, there was some graffiti down at the town park this weekend, and we may have to get cameras for there as well. So maybe we can lump this all together. It was not good graffiti.
Ooh,
Okay, so we're just let me tabling. Just bear with me one second.
sure.
Okay, thanks, Ed and Alan. You'll pick this up. Okay, I am going to make a motion. This is tab 13 for resolution 2020-156 for our budget transfers and amendments. I should have done this before. I'm sorry. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Josh. Any discussion? Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I will make a motion for resolution. This is tab 10, 2020-155 for our accounts payable abstracts, 39 checks totaling $51,724.46. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chauncey. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. And I'll make a motion for, this is tab 9, resolution 2020-150 or capital projects abstracts, one check totaling $8,289.78. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Chauncey. Is there any discussion or any questions about this?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved. I need a motion for resolution 2020-152, authorizing the attorneys to the town board and the zoning board of appeals to take legal action on behalf of the town pursuant to section 65 of the town law.
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Ed. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Chauncey. For the public, this is authorizing our town attorney and attorney to the Zoning Board of Appeals to pursue an appeal and an interested party status with the ZBA for our lawsuit against Red Wing. Any further discussion or any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I think tab 12, resolution 2020-153, addendum to professional services contract with the LaBerge Group for the town and village of Rhinebeck Judicial Court Consolidation Plan. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thanks, Alan. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Chauncey. Is there any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Is there any new business, Chauncey?
Yes, for the public, we have an ethics board that we're required to have. And we do have also a local law to govern its activities and its membership. There's been some confusion over the population of the members of that ethics board. Brent Nuneker, who serves on the village board, is listed in the town records as a member of the town's ethics board. His term would expire by on December 31st of this year. However, under the local law that governs this activity, one who is a candidate for public office is not allowed to serve on the ethics board. So we brought up that subject with Brant, who was running for re-election to the village board, and with regard to the need to have him resign. However, Brant recalls that several years ago, he did resign, but only orally and by discussion with the then chair of the ethics board. So there's no record of this having happened in the town's records. So we have a resolution before us to confirm that Brant Nuneker has resigned, and he has confirmed that in an email message about this discussion with the chair of the ethics board a few years ago. So we're just confirming that, so we will then have in our records that position on the ethics board open, and we will proceed to arrange for a successor. So I will
Thanks.
make a motion for the adoption of that resolution.
Motion with Chauncey. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Alan. Chauncey, thanks for tying up the loose end for us, and Brant, thanks for serving. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Just want to report that we have a very large capped landfill up on Stone Church, and there are about 8-9 vents on it. That's with the rubber seal, and we have to have it tested every year by Chazen and report to the DEC for the water quality. And people are ATVing around there, and all of our vents have been broken, which hinders the release of the methane. So Bobby is going to fix them. We may have to fence off the area. Certainly we have to post, again, no trespassing signs. And anybody caught up there, please know that you're putting in, not only breaking the law, but you're putting in danger our capped landfill and safety of water because of it. So we may need to do more stuff up there. There are several kids that use it frequently, and I guess, Ed, maybe you and I, or you and somebody, and Bobby should go up there. We may have to fence it up. I don't know what we could do.
Yeah, I was aware of this
Or-
before, and
What,
I
Alan?
spoke to Bobby about it.
Yeah.
Or we could put cameras up.
More cameras.
Is it,
That'd be good.
let's look at what, if there's any fencing that exists up there. It certainly has to be posted, no trespassing. You know, maybe we have to talk to the DEC. I mean, it's
It's
just
dangerous. It really
it's
is.
dangerous. It's dangerous for the environment. It's dangerous for the site. It's dangerous for the people up there. And no one's allowed to be up there. Okay, I just wanted to let you know that. I told you about the vandalism at the park, so we do need to install some cameras there. Also, let's just talk about the pool.
Sure.
Alan, you want to spearhead this? We're talking
Well,
about the pool.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. We have, first of all, the pool couldn't open until phase 3, which is still 2 or 3 weeks away.
No, phase 3
Next
starts
Today.
on the 7th of July.
7th of July, okay. The problem is all the lifeguards we hired have moved on. We called a bunch of them to see if we could use them, and we only got replies from 2 of them, which is not adequate.
So all or most of them have moved on.
Yeah, most of them have moved on. The second thing is we need cashiers. We need people to clean and disinfect bathhouses, and we need somebody to enforce social
Well,
distance.
we wouldn't open the bathhouses. We would have a porta potty outside. I don't think we're allowed to open bathrooms.
Well, either way, you're going to have to disinfect, clean and disinfect on a daily basis. We just don't have the staff to do that, and to have basically teenage lifeguards enforcing social distancing with adults is not going to work, as far as I can tell.
Well, also, just so the public knows, this isn't something we've taken lightly. We've looked at it once, twice, 3 times. The only
Sure.
pool that we know of in the county at this point that's opening is the Red Hook pool, which is privately owned. BART isn't opening. Marist contacted me today to see if they could get swim time at our pool because they don't have a pool to practice in. And none of the other towns are opening. Towns with beaches are opening. The Red Hook pool is not opening for family or kids swim. It is opening only for lane practices with 1 person in a lane at a time for a 45-minute slot with 15 minutes cleaning after all of it. I mean, we can leave this open and revisit it, I guess, again, but we're not opening at this point,
Yeah.
correct? With safety concerns, the staffing, and the logistics of it are
Right.
okay.
Yes.
Does anybody have any other feelings about this?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of a way.
Okay. How do we want to leave this? We're not opening the pool.
That's what I would say, yes.
I would say.
Okay. I see that Mike Frazier and Nancy Kelly have joined us. Hi, Mike and Nancy. It's our deputy historian and our historian. Did you want to talk? Oh, Mike, I think you're on mute. Hold on.
Nancy's on.
You have to unmute, Mike.
Unmute myself. Okay.
Yeah,
Just
Nancy,
wanted to let you know we're feeling very old.
Oh, why? It's all in your head.
No, Nancy and I are here because of the request that you sent to us earlier today regarding
Let me just
county equipment.
let me set the stage for this. I don't know if you guys have seen the email, but thanks for coming. I wasn't going to bring it up today because I hadn't heard from you. We got a letter from a resident asking us to,
Keith Greeny, yes.
thank you, asking us to consider removing the sign or redoing the sign in front of the Quitman House because of John Quitman, who is the son of the man who built the houses. Because of his history, he left Rhinebeck and became the governor of Mississippi. Mike, why don't you and Nancy take this over? We received, there is some concern about the sign for the Quitman House.
Sure.
Take it away. Hi,
Keith
Nancy.
Greeny has written to you, Elizabeth, and copied the town board, I believe, arguing that that sign is most inappropriate, and that instead there ought to be a sign honoring his father, Frederick Quitman. I shared that email. Well, actually, that email from yourself came to both Nancy and myself, and I drafted a response. Only now did I realize that Nancy has received it, and I think wrote to you. I'm sure you haven't had a chance to look at it. But essentially, the argument that Keith Greeny is making is an argument that I made about 3.5 years ago when I did a presentation at the Stone Church about the history of the Stone Church, in front of which that sign is located. Essentially,
the sign's in front of the church or the Quitman House, Mike?
did I say the church? It's in front of Quitman House. It's
Okay.
right there on the west side of Route 9, just south of the entrance to Quitman House. And it states basically that this is where the governor of Mississippi, John A. Quitman, was born. And he served as a member of the House of Representatives. And it doesn't tell you much more than that.
It says,
The
I can
reason,
read it, yeah, it says birthplace of Brigadier General John A. Quitman, September 1, 1799 through July 17, 1858, hero of Mexican War, Senator, Chancellor, Judge Governor of Mississippi, located, and then it just gives the...
Yeah, he was also in the Confederacy, right?
Yeah, had 300
Yes.
slaves.
Let
he was not in the Confederacy. He died in 1858, but
Oh,
he had led, and he's best known probably because in the 1840s, he was a general in the U.S. military and had led the attack on the approaches to Mexico City, an area known as Monterey, and was successful. And it frankly was a kingpin in the victory in the U.S.-Mexican War. And his reputation was essentially based on that military victory. He returned to Mississippi after that war, where he was a well-known, well, actually, he had married into the family of somebody who was the largest slaveholder in the state of Mississippi. And he was a very strong advocate for slavery, for economic and cultural reasons, and tried to argue early on for secession from the United States. The rest of his legislature in Mississippi did not agree with him at that point, although he had a lot of supporters. He also subsequently initiated an effort to organize troops civilians who would seize Cuba. The rationale for doing that was that Cuba might be then added to the United States as an additional state. We were 13 northern states, 13 southern states at that point, and it might tip the balance in the favor of the South. But the federal government became aware of those efforts, brought him up on charges. He resigned as a result his position as governor of Mississippi. And in 1858, he passed away. Had he lived, because of his political reputation, because of the fact that he was a very successful lawyer, because he was an articulate person, because he had this reputation as a soldier and having led this Battle of Monterey, he very likely, rather than Jefferson Davis, would likely have been chosen as the leader of the Confederacy. But that was, let's say, what if, because he died 2 years before that would ever take place.
So this is the son, not the.
This is the son of Frederick Whitman. He was born in that house in Rhinebeck. Frederick Whitman moved to Rhinebeck in 1798, and that house was built for him. Frederick moved to Rhinebeck. He was leaving Curacao, an island in the West Indies, to return to, he was originally from the Netherlands, and he was returning to the Netherlands, but stopped in the United States, the new United States, on his way home. And he never went home because on his way, he was invited to meet with the Washingtons at their home in Virginia. And President Washington at that time was very impressed with this man who had a doctorate, was very well known among Lutherans. We needed people like him in this new country, Washington told him, and he stayed. He wound up going to Schoharie and then eventually coming down here to Rhinebeck by 1798 and serving as a Lutheran minister in the Rhinebeck area for some 30 years until he dies in 1833. So the sign in front of Quitman House, unfortunately, is not about him. It ought to be about him. It's about his son. And it's doubly embarrassing because his son did nothing for New York State. The father did an enormous amount for our community. When the Lutheran, others in this area of the United States who were considering where they might set up a school of theology for those training as Lutheran ministers, there was no such location, and they considered Rhinebeck as one of the options, came very close to choosing Rhinebeck because of Dr. Quitman. They wound up choosing Hartwick, where Hartwick College is today instead. But, you know, he was quite a force. But for some reason, the New York State Education Department, when they put up that sign, when they were asked.
80 years ago, is it about 80 years old,
In
Mike?
the 1930s, 1933, I think it may be. You know, they were persuaded that John Quitman is the one that they ought to honor. So I'm sure you have more detailed information than I do, but.
Nancy, I'm not, is there a consensus among the Quitman House Board of what to do about this? And
well, I tried to contact the Quitman Board, but I haven't been able to reach anyone to ask about it. Earlier on, at least one board member had complained about it. And so I think it's something that you could put on your agenda and we'll get more of a report for you. I think Mike has done a wonderful job of summarizing the background, and that certainly Reverend Quitman was very long-standing owner or resident of the house and very important to our communities.
what would we do with the old sign? I mean, I don't want to discard it. Can we put it in the Quitman House and write something up about how the son of this amazing man went rogue, became a traitor, and owned slaves? I mean, what do we do? You know,
I would imagine that would be a space where it could be displayed in the Quitman House. in order to get a new sign, we can make a application,
To the Pomeroy Foundation, yeah.
yeah, and see if we can get a new sign, but
What do you
maybe.
guys, so what do you guys think about this?
I say take it down.
Yeah, me too.
Or
Well, I mean, is that what you're advising us to do, Nancy? To take it down?
Well, my thought is perhaps to apply for a new sign, and if they're willing to give us the money for a new sign, then we could retire the old sign.
But the signs aren't that expensive, are they?
We had gotten a quote for the parsonage, I mean, for the Palatine Farmstead, but I've forgotten how much it was. I thought it was quite a bit.
Okay. I'd like to, not erase history, and maybe we could, this is just me speaking, maybe we put it in the Quitman House and point out how he was, however we want to, or however it should be framed. But
Better
certainly, sorry, Nancy?
A better explanation.
A better explanation, and point out that he went over to the Confederacy. He was pro-slavery. He owned slaves, and sort of 180 degrees from where his Lutheran father was.
Mm.
Elizabeth, based on the history that we've just heard about, it seems to me that whatever we do with the sign, ultimately, it would be best to take it down right away rather than wait to have a replacement sign. I think we ought to get it down.
I agree.
I agree.
Does anybody want
Is it
to?
ours to do? The town does own the property, isn't that correct?
Yes.
The town owns the property, the town maintains the property. It doesn't, the irony here is that perhaps 10 years ago, while the town highway employee was, I think, removing snow from the edge of Route 9, he knocked down the sign. And at the time, I was
Opportunity missed.
Trying to run over it too.
at the time I argued that we ought to replace it with a better sign, told what was more important. But I was a board member of the Quitman Resource Center, and we voted to. I don't know whether the town or the Quitman Resource Center at the time paid a welder to basically. He basically was turning his front loader 180 degrees and accidentally swiped the side of the sign. I mean,
It happens.
it happened.
Every winter.
So it was welded back together.
Do we have the authority to take it down, Mike, if we were to decide right now to do that?
Yeah, I was
Or do we
wondering
need,
about that.
we need any permission from anybody?
The state education department, is the one that paid to have those installed because it was in the right of way of Route 9, and because there had been a request from I guess they had solicited, not just from Rhinebeck, from all over the state, recommendations for appropriate ways to honor the past of those communities. So we have been in touch, the Rhinebeck Historical Society and several other organizations have been in touch years, like 10 years ago with the state ed department to find out what the story is about who's responsible for these signs. I think it was at the time that one was knocked down. And we were told that they don't maintain those signs any longer. They don't put them up any longer because they are worried about the possibility of them serving as a traffic hazard, since they're actually on the right-of-way of a public highway, of a state highway. So I don't know the answer to your question, Chauncey.
They do have it listed on their website for historic signs.
Right.
Nancy, would you, Mike, and Nancy, would you get in touch with them and find out what we have to do to, you know, remove it and get a new sign? And we also want to make sure, I mean, I think I'd like to speak to, well, you guys are historians, but I don't want to erase the past. I just want to sort of call, I want it to be properly represented.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. It seemed like an opportunity.
Well,
Okay. Nancy, if you like, I'd be glad to do that.
Great, so you'll keep
Okay.
us posted, shoot me an email, and I did get your emails about 4, I think about 4, 12, 15, you both emailed me, so I did see
Okay.
that.
great.
Well, thank you for your work on this. Thanks for bringing it to our attention, and we'll work together to do what we have to do to put John Quitman into a better context as a slave owner and a
Just to be clear, as I pointed out in my email to you, Elizabeth, the Quitman House and the Quitman Resource Center for Preservation are named after, I mean, you know, we don't put in the
Frederick
first
Quitman.
name, but they are named after the minister, Reverend
Yes.
Dr.
That's great, but I'm concerned about, like Josh said, this is a teachable moment, and I would like to be able to acknowledge, you know, John's participation in enslaving people and perpetuating slavery in this country and being a traitor to the Union. I just don't want to, I don't know how we properly do that, but I know there are people who do know how to do that.
It's not a pretty
Could have
picture.
two faces, one truth or the other truth.
What?
The sign could have two faces, one truth and the other truth.
I mean, we could leave the sign up and put an amendment underneath it if you wish. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I went to art school, so all these things are, you know.
Or we could accidentally knock it down again.
No, I think we have to be purposeful and very clear about this. And so if you two, well, Mike and Nancy, look at how and what we're allowed to do, and we can do it as quickly as possible. Look to getting a new sign. We'd like to see what that would say, and look to leaving this sign in the Quitman House with a proper context for it.
Okay, we'll do our best.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Are there any other discussions or?
Yes.
What?
Yes, there is one.
Okay, what is it?
Cemetery plot
Oh, I'm
numbers.
sorry. Limiting the number of cemetery plots purchasable by a single person or entity. Okay, go ahead, Ed.
No, I'm waiting for some kind of agreement from the board on what number that might be or what percentage.
Well, we didn't get the final numbers. We asked for final numbers of how many we have, and
She sent it all to you. We have it all.
okay, what is it?
7,650 plots. There are 2,308. She sent all that. I saw it all. Went to everybody.
7,000, well, 7,000.
She said 7,650 total plots. There are 2,386 in Grassmere. I don't know if you want to do a percentage because
I think that's what we talked about.
Yes.
Well, 2% is about 47 plots.
Can you give us the numbers for each area, please? There's
I
20.
don't have them in front of me. She sent everybody.
I'll look at my email. Hold on.
Yeah, it's all there. I didn't know we didn't have it.
Well, if we're going to discuss it, we kind of need the information.
Well, it was sent. Everybody got it.
We're looking for it. We're looking for it. Hold on.
Is it from Suzanne?
Yeah.
Okay, so old cemetery, 647 vacant. Grassmere Cemetery, 2386 vacant. Natural Burial Ground, 740 vacant.
Okay. Okay.
And then area remaining for future burial plots yields 7650 as an average.
That's what I had. Yeah.
All right. Got it. So that makes sense.
Yep.
Nancy and Mike, what we're talking about here is we have, and there has been we have had several interested parties asking us to buy, how many
Numerous
plots
amounts.
was it? How much?
200.
200 plots.
Yeah.
And, but it's for a good reason, and they would be giving them to people who couldn't afford them. But it made us talk about, do we want to restrict how many plots anybody could buy, so that we have them to last, or that they're not all taken over by one.
And the current burn rate is 58 a year, which divided back into our total, if that rate is maintained, 200 years till completely full.
Do we want to, do we want to do a percentage? Do we want to say 5% of available plots, or 10% of available plots, or?
If 5% is a lot, isn't it?
We'd have to break it down, I suppose, into each category.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so that 5% would mean that somebody could buy 116 plots at Grasmere, or 32 plots in the old cemetery, or 37 plots in the green cemetery at one time. That one entity could buy that amount, and then it would be recalculated as we have.
Or they could buy several hundred in the area that's not laid out yet.
Right.
No, I think we have to have them laid out before they're available to buy.
Okay.
That's the whole thing. Those aren't available for purchase. They need to be surveyed and plotted. All right. I mean, what's the cemetery committee recommending, Ed?
They don't really have one. They just said, well, I can check with them to be sure they don't. Well, I can do that. Yeah.
It would seem that the cemetery committee should have some recommendation for you.
Yeah, I didn't.
I agree.
If we're going to do it, we'll probably need some kind of purchase and sale agreement too. There will be issues to be considered that
Yeah.
should be covered by an agreement.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, the person that wants to buy all these plots, why not have them create a foundation that pays for them when they're needed?
That's not what we're talking about.
Okay.
There is a foundation, but
Yeah.
do we want people buying up 250, 500 plots at a time? Is that in the
No.
best interest? Are we concerned about it? Is it okay? Is it not okay?
Okay.
I mean, it's a revenue stream. It would be a windfall of money, but is it in the best interest of the town? And I don't know. That's why we're talking about it.
Yep.
I guess get a final recommendation from the cemetery board, and
Okay.
we can do that.
I'll do it.
Okay. All right. Any other issues, or anybody else want to talk about anything else?
No,
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion to adjourn? I will. Any seconds?
Second.
Okay. Thanks, Mike and Nancy. Thanks for joining us. Everybody, thanks for watching.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Good
night,
night.
everybody.
Happy
Bye.
Monday.